All right, welcome to today's podcast. Today we're talking about how we feel that the best investment you'll ever make is the one that you make in yourself. And yeah, feeling really inspired by a recent YouTube video I saw of Alex Hormozi, who is a huge inspiration to me. And he was saying that in his perception, one of the best investments you can ever make is in yourself. And he sort of compared it to real estate and saying that, an amazing outcome for these real estate in this day and age would be like a 1x, let's say, over a 1 or 5 year period, like to double your money in real estate would be a phenomenal outcome. And maybe in the old days, maybe 30 years ago, a 10x or a 20x or a 50x was possible. Same with things like Bitcoin. If you'd got in it back in 2017 or 16, and I could totally be wrong, it could totally 10x next week, who knows? But, the 100x's and the 1000x's were all possible, whereas now, a 1x could be something that's seen later or whatever. Anyway, in summary, this perception that the best investment is always you. And for me, that's one time and time and time again in my life. And hearing that video the other day just made me more than ever before lean into investing in myself and just going all in on me and how I can expand that. What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, I love that. And something that came through, we had a chat about this video in particular, this video earlier. And as you were sharing the first time, something that came through to me was a lot of people, and I think you and I have probably suffered from this in the past as well. I have for sure, is the shiny toy syndrome. Is like we're maybe working through our business, maybe where there's a little bit of heavy sand that we're having to drag ourselves through, things are not working well, there's a little bit of effort required or grind, and we disassociate or distract ourselves with the lotto win. But if I just invested in Bitcoin, why don't I go and have a look at that? And we're pulled away from what we truly meant to
Yep.
be here for. Like your
Yep.
purpose and your mission and your focus is the school for music school for autism,
Yes.
and that's your life force. That's your purpose. That's what you were put on this earth to do,
Yeah.
right? And anything that pulls you away from that is actually moving you away from where you were destined and your soul is desiring to be.
Yeah.
We always get caught up with this. There's a million gimmicks or fads or shiny toy syndrome scenarios that we can get lured in by. And this is always going to test our resolve is how much can you stay on purpose, Jay? How much? Like, I know that this is difficult right now. And look at this little shiny toy over here. Come have a look at this play.
Yeah.
And it will never yield the results from an esoteric point of view, from a soul's perspective.
Yep.
Yes, we talk about 1x, 2x in the material world, in this plane that we live in of money. But what about your soul, in your soul's contract that you
Yeah.
came to deliver the world, this magic in the school of autism? Yeah,
Yep.
music school for autism. And that's an infinite amount of return. You cannot even put a 1x, 2x, 10x on that.
Mm.
Because what you'll be faced with at the end is when you finally reach your deathbed and you don't complete this and you don't complete the initiation of the school, you are left with regret and remorse.
Mm.
And that is the most painful crossover into the afterlife that you can ever possibly imagine because there's nothing you can do about it right now.
Man, I feel like I'm getting a free coaching call right now from you, and I really appreciate that. It's why we have, why we created this podcast in the first place was because we just really appreciate each other's opinions, perceptions, and support, and love, and all the things. And hearing from you right now is just so beautiful to me and empowering, and it also makes me think like you kind of need to go through it, right? Like the Bitcoin, say, thing, like, the trading thing, like, at times I've gotten right into trading and got lost down that rabbit hole of studying and being up all night and learning all the things and just like, oh, if one more thing and I know it and I know that's coming and all the things. And yeah, you got to go through it, right, to get through it, to be like, yeah, actually that bright shiny object is not what I want. And then even coming back to that, like a few months ago I kind of almost got back into it, and then hearing Alex Hormozi say that a few weeks ago, and now you saying that right now too. It's just that icing on the cake. So it's also, thank you, and exposing yourself to that, and also having the experience of being like, that bright shiny object is really not what I want. And sometimes we just keep going back for more with the bright shiny objects.
Oh, yeah, I've got that many of those t-shirts. It's not funny. I've got a
Yeah.
wardrobe full. Yeah, thank you for those reflections, mate. It was nice to hear that today. Thank you.
Mm.
Um, and also to add to that, if we listen to the linguistics behind it, when we talk about the shiny toy, we talk about the trading, which I've been down, and it almost lured me back 2 weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I've seen a couple of trades, and maybe I could go back to that. And it's this disassociation again,
Yeah.
and I'm not happy with my current set of circumstances. So let
Yeah.
me leave my body and go into a higher, into this make-up world.
Yeah.
But let's listen to the linguistics of it. Oh, if I got into training and if into trading, and if I just did one more thing, and if I just got this, and that, right? It's actually trying to take. Whereas opposed to when you talk about the music school, I get to do one more. I get to give one more lesson. I get to give one more module. You know what? I
Yeah.
just found a bonus section that I'm going to give.
Yeah.
Listen to the language difference. One's taking and
Definitely.
one's giving.
Yeah.
And the real gift is always in the giving.
Yeah.
It's infinite. It's always life fulfilling. Whereas this one is life draining. This one, the trading space, and you look at the let's look at the energetics of it as well. This is a great little tangent. With the trading, someone has to lose for me to win.
Mm.
With the school, it's a win-win. I get to give, you get to receive. It's
Yeah.
equal in reciprocity in exchange.
Definitely.
And it's a win-win-win. So it's a win for you, it's a win for the student, and it's a win for the greater good. And so
Yeah.
then we look at that and the energetics behind that and our exchange. Where is our money and our time and our energy best placed? Always in the win-win-win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And in ourselves in that way, like the way Alex Hormozi again explained in that video, and just seeing that abundance, and I break it down, and the more I think about it with everything that I've ever done, and that constant investment in myself, it just amplifies the amount of energy I put into it. It amplifies my confidence, my self belief, my support for myself, my nurturing of yeah, my love for yeah, myself, I guess, and what I'm doing.
So, listen, thinking about our listeners right now, what are some of the things that you could do as Jay, or maybe the people listening, that qualify as investing in yourself? What would they look like?
Yeah, well, for me, it's always been a no-brainer with music and everything that I need to share my passion. So let's say in my early years, it was investing in music teachers, and then getting by on like whatever instruments I had. Like it wasn't, I didn't have any fancy guitars. I had crappy guitars, and I just had to work with what I had. And I was spending all my money on my studies and my teachers, or my parents in the beginning were, thank you parents, spending all their hard-earned money on my lessons and driving me to and from these teachers all over the place. And then yeah, I guess after that it was like travel. I never compromised on my show. I never compromised on any expenses on, getting the new effects pedal for my guitar, or getting the new sound system, or it was always within reason. I wasn't, buying Ferraris, but I was always buying the best quality I could afford to give the customer the most incredible experience of my passion.
Mm.
And that was playing live gigs, right? So making sure that the listener got the best sound quality, the best distribution of frequencies to have the most amount of impact of my music and my story. And then, yeah, I guess since COVID, the big flip, which was manifesting for me for years, of saying that I wanted to get off the road anyway, and that I wanted to um, sort of have a normal life. That all flipped around, and I think had COVID not happened, then that would have never flipped around, because I probably would have just kept touring, and that was great too, but I was definitely craving that normal life thing. And then when that happened, I was like, oh shit, I need to work out how I'm going to pay the bills and do what I need to do. All these other things have been born from that, including the online courses and the music schools. And then I started studying more and realized pretty quickly that my exchange of time for money was again consuming me, just in a new way. So then leading into more of the course creating, and leading into building out that, that combined with the fact that I have a wait list of people trying to get in, that I can't give everyone what they need.
Mm,
So that led to creating, the bigger music schools. And then with the niche of the autistic kids gravitating towards me, that led to niching. And then I guess studying business. So studying how to build funnels, how to build more websites, how to build, as things evolved, how to build automations to take on all the clients, then how to scale and build a portal that can handle 1 million people
right.
without needing to work, without needing to exchange time for money. So that's
Mm,
sort of a long answer to your question, but I guess the evolution of every step was just kept on investing in myself and in whatever I needed, the tools that I needed to do the tasks, to follow my heart and
mm.
serve my magic, so it's received to the most amount of people to the highest quality.
Just thank you for sharing that, mate. It's interesting how there's a concurrent theme through all of that, where you're constantly seeking to deliver the highest quality. It started on the road with the level of audio, the frequencies, the level of equipment, just kept upscaling. And now you have the same values which are present in your business in of today, which is the online school, of
Yeah.
delivering the highest value and the highest quality and the highest of everything.
Yeah.
And you can see where your values lie. Um, the thing that really stood out to me as you were speaking just then is the level of courage that it takes to invest in yourself, like to drop, I'm not going to say the amount of money, but that I know that there was a substantial amount of money that you invested in yourself in mentors and coaches and masterminds into an unknown. You hadn't run the school before, it wasn't up and running, it wasn't
Mm.
even in existence, you hadn't written it,
Yeah.
and you went and invested a large sum of money. That takes courage.
And
And
time, or just presence time, like the
it's
last
a
two or
lot of
three
your
years, like non-stop 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. every single day, pretty much, except for Sundays, amongst juggling everything else. So I'd say almost the time is, for me, more valuable of what I, can't get back, or what I've invested, that than the money. But
correct.
yes, yeah.
So that takes a lot of, there's our willpower, which is
Mm.
my strength, and then we work in the universal laws, and there's free energy that's available to us. My willpower will only get me so far,
Yeah.
you know. Motivation is failing. It won't always be there. There's going to be
Yeah.
days that I don't feel great. I'm going to feel contracted.
Yeah.
If I can get into my flow state, which is what you do when you write and you
Yeah.
play and you do the school, you're not operating of Jay's will anymore. It's in thy will, in the universal law.
Yeah.
And that's why you could work from 4 till 9 in the night, because you weren't working on Jay's energy. It
Mm.
was this flow energy that you're in. You're in a flow state. Um,
Definitely. And it's interesting you use the word courage, because, yeah, I feel I completely agree, but I think like that gulp of like, oh, this is going to take some courage, and that conscious reflection or feeling of that. And I haven't had that in a long time. It's just been doing the thing. And I think when did I last feel that step of like, whew, you know? And I think of it was when I was like 22 years old, and I left my jobs that I had in the normal world
yeah,
to go on tour and take that first gig, to leave to tour like really full time overseas in America and stuff, and having to cut the ties on all my safety nets of my job
mm,
and stability with that. But I also had a fairly solid chance of a new stability. And also my relationship, I chose to leave that.
wow, wow,
And something else as well in there. But anyway, that was a big hoof, and this is like going to take some courage, so to speak. But really, for many years now, it hasn't even been courage. Like COVID, that was like sort of took my swept my feet away, so to speak, and there was no other option. It was just like, this is it. There's no courage needed, because you just got to go. Like, there's no time to even think about courage, or you just go. You just go. So yeah, it's autopilot courage, but it's interesting.
yeah. I think the origins of courage actually are core, meaning Latin for coming from the heart.
Mm,
And so, even though you haven't acted consciously with the courage of like, oh, I need to push myself through this,
yeah,
you've been following your heart,
definitely, 100%.
which is courageous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it's not easy to follow your heart.
Mm,
That's usually against the grain of the status quo of like, get a good grade, go to school, get a good grade, get your job, and go and work 9 to 5. That's courageous to move away from that status quo and go, you know what, I'm going to follow my heart and play music for a living.
Yeah.
Most people would have said, Jay, there's no music, there's no money in that.
Yeah, everyone did say that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's courage to, even whether it's conscious or unconscious, to follow your heart.
Mm.
And that's where the meaning comes from.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And just this feeling of going, again, just seeing that video the other week was like, I'm going all in. Like, I'm going all in on me, like never before. I'm going all in on me. Whew, what a thing that was, you know? That was a,
Mm.
that, and that was like, that was just, again, effortless. It didn't take anything. It was just like, oh, this makes so much sense. Why am I wasting my energy on other things? Like, I'm all in.
Just feeling into the, the theme of our podcast is around accountability. And
Mm,
so what's your accountability? That, because, life's going to move on you.
mm,
And that level of inspiration, motivation will dwindle.
mm,
That, Hormozi video will sort of wander out into the 50 other billion bits of content you're going to hear between now and next week.
mm.
What are you going to do as a level of accountability to always, or, wherever possible, remember that and go, no shiny toys, doubling down on Jay.
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah,
going to
I
do?
don't know. I feel like this was kind of it. This was the kind of the last step. Like I feel like pretty damn good with my accountability. Like if I had any more accountability, I'd probably kill myself because I'm so
Yeah, no more accountability.
accountable
No, you need to go
that
around.
yeah, with and so committed to doing what I say and with like fearless love for the truth to the best of my ability of showing up and speaking my truth and letting go of an attachment to an outcome. Like with all these projects I've created, I haven't done them for, I'm definitely manifesting and creating all these things to hold a huge amount of success and abundance. And, but I don't, it's not the reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it because like it definitely is. There's a big part of it that's like a beautiful fuel for that. Definitely owning that, but really beyond more of that, it's sharing my heart and it's being, I guess, the definition of courageous and following my heart. And the more I've failed or succeeded in other projects that I've created and the story of my life and all the mistakes I've made and all the successes I've had, I've boiled all like every single one of those experiences has shaped the creation of this next project. But I'm still going into it like, if this doesn't work out, that's cool. But that
Mm.
just gives me more fuel in the fire to just go for it and to own it and to keep showing up. So what that gave me the other week hearing that video was like kind of like the final straw, I really believe, of I'm not going to ever get distracted by investing in Bitcoin again. I'm done. I'm not going to even get distracted by investing in property and real estate anymore. I'm done. Not saying that anyone should follow what I'm doing, but like, and once I reach the success as more of the thing I am creating, I'll probably look maybe back at, rather than investing in real estate. And again, it just comes back to that 1x thing of what he said. Like, is it a 1x or a 2x? Whereas I feel like investing in myself right now, there's chances of 1,000x or a 10,000x is like phenomenal. Like it's right on point. And without all the niches that I've created and all the things that I've learned along the way, that wouldn't be the case. If it was just me going out being like, I'm going to start a music school for people who want to play guitar, I don't feel that that would be that abundant for me. I'm sure there's others out there that it would be, but it's not enough. It needs
Yes.
to be something unique. Why wouldn't they go to the other 10,000 guys that can teach them the guitar that are awesome?
Yeah.
Why me? And there's got to be more. So, yeah, and I feel like what I've created here is just super on point and it's unique and it's
Mm.
only me as far as everyone following what I've done and what I'm doing as soon as it's out. There's going to be heaps. And I feel
Yes.
confident that no one can do what I'm doing like I'm doing it because there's so much heart, man. There's so much heart and so much love, so much unique experience that no matter who tries to copy me, knock on wood, not even knock on wood, like fuck it, I'll take the knock on wood back. Like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. I've done this and it's gonna be beautiful. So just but there's so much to it, mate. So much.
So look, someone will always copy you.
Yeah.
That's a given, right? But it's the greatest form of flattery
Yeah.
because that's worthy of being copied. The one thing that they'll never have is the evolution. So when they're finally getting their thing live,
Yeah.
you're already 3 years ahead of that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just this forever chasing, and you'll always be in front.
Yeah,
And they'll always need you to evolve so that they can continue to evolve, because they don't have all of the experience and the tools and the tricks and the life lessons that you have to
exactly.
create the evolution. So they're always going to be a step behind. So it's always the greatest level of flattery.
Absolutely.
And we also need to realize that some people will resonate with that. And then
Yeah,
some people will resonate with the original source. And
yeah.
it's all perfect.
I think of that quote, like be fast and be first, be first, be fast, be fast, be first, be first, be fast. Just that over and over. And I reckon that's just that courageousness to lean into that is just beautiful.
Speaking of which, there was a Mel Robbins. I watched a video and I shared this with the guys that I'm working with at the moment. There was Mel Robbins, the 5 second rule. I'll summarize it down. When you're in the face of making a decision, five, four, three, two, one, act. And whatever it is in that moment that when you say act, step in that direction. So if
Yeah,
it's waking up first thing in the morning and you're laying in bed thinking about snooze, five, four, three, two, one, get up.
yeah,
What it does is, she says, it brings you back around into your prefrontal cortex, and you don't
yeah,
go running strategies in the back of your mind of protection and safety. It goes, act now.
yeah.
And so that's that, acting first and acting fast.
How good's that? Yeah, and definitely getting up in the morning that's a great time to use that 5 second rule. And
Because you imagine you do it then, you can do it for the rest of the day as well.
yeah, yeah,
Do I
definitely.
make that sales call? Five, four, three, two, one, dial.
Yeah,
Do I do that podcast? Five, four, three, two, one, hit. That was our first podcast. It was like, okay, you ready? Hit record. All right, we're on.
yeah, yeah.
we we just went for it, right? And it's that five, four, three, two, one, go.
That's
Because
it.
fear hates action.
Yeah,
And so if you're in inaction, you're going to move into the space in the realm of fear.
I love that. And so, this thing. I guess, what do you perceive on that, Mike? Investing in yourself is the best outcome. How does that fit your story?
I categorically, hands down,
Yeah,
believe. I think I bought all the t-shirts of all the things that I could invest in,
yeah,
and none of them have ever fulfilled the
mm,
the internal desire
mm,
level of fulfillment that I'm craving. And even no matter what my balance sheet might have looked like or how speculative it might have been, it was always from a place of lack. Whereas every
yeah,
time I've invested in myself, it was just nourishing and filling me up.
yeah.
It was renewable. And so, hands down, I greatly believe in the saying that the greatest investment you'll ever make is the one you make in yourself.
I think, just for anyone out there that's not exactly sure how to start on this or interested, more in this philosophy, I think it's easy to be um, insecure or confused about what the outcome of it could possibly be. But if you, again, sort of try and take away the fear or the attachment to the outcome, just to put this into perspective, there's no way 36 months ago that I would have thought I was doing what I'm creating now, that I'd be doing what I'd be creating now. And let alone 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15, or 20, or 25.
Yeah.
But every single step of the way has provided learnings and foundations for me to get full clarity around this. And maybe this is just something, another stepping stone to creating something epic or something that I don't know. But, just, I think just going for it and following your heart and being courageous, and just having that thing to pull it back to invest in yourself. I can't recommend it enough.
And be okay that you're going to make mistakes. Be
Mm,
okay that you're going to get it wrong. Be okay that you're going to fail, and fail early, fail often,
yeah,
and and be okay with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to move in the direction and pivot. Move in the direction and pivot.
yeah. Beautiful. Let's wrap it up there, brother. We'll see you in the next
All good.
podcast.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.